Hello everybody and welcome to this week's episode of Analysing Anfield, your tactics and analytics podcast, courtesy of the Blood Red channel. I'm Josh Williams and as usual I am joined by David Hughes. How you doing, mate?
I'm good, thank you, Josh.
Good, I'm better. So why?
Go on.
Well, we're going to address it immediately. It's going to be our first talking point today, but Liverpool, it's Thursday today, we are recording on a Thursday morning, and this morning news broke regarding, I'm not even going to attempt his first name, but it's Minamino, transfer news. Red Bull Salzburg attacker, apparently on the verge of joining Liverpool. So we're obviously going to be able to address that, and then we're going to talk about the upcoming match with Watford, and we're going to look back at Bournemouth and Salzburg as well. But yeah, Minamino, surprised?
I was surprised, yeah, but it's an exciting move for Liverpool. He's a really good player over those two games that Liverpool played against Salzburg, and wasn't expecting it. Didn't really hear any links, but good move, very good move, especially for a side like Liverpool.
Yeah, it's Takumi Minamino for those that aren't aware.
That's not bad, that mate.
But I think it's a genius, and I think it just makes so much sense. I come in today. And I wasn't aware of it until I actually sat down at my desk, and the more I wrote about it, I've got a piece should be going up, so by the time this podcast's gone up, the piece will be probably on my Twitter at Distance Covered. But the more I was writing about him, the more I was thinking to myself, this just makes absolute sense for an absolute variety of reasons, as you can see on the agenda, Dave.
Yeah. Listen, I totally agree. He's just a really exciting player. He's come from a side that's similar to Liverpool, but obviously Liverpool are better.
I think that's crucial, though.
Yeah.
I think if you're trying to build this identity, which we talk about quite a lot, intensity is our identity and all stuff like that. High tempo football, high risk, lots of endeavour, lots of risk taking and things like that on the pitch. You have to buy players that are suitable to that brand of football, so that brand of football can be executed properly.
You'd like to think there'll be a minimal bedding in.
Yeah, I think
You'd like to think that he could actually... He's due to come in January, according to reports, is that correct?
Yeah, it looks like he's going to come in immediately, yeah.
So, what's to say that he couldn't have some form of impact in the second half of the season for Liverpool?
Yeah, I mean, it is possible. I think that's one of the very, very few downsides to the deal, the fact that he's coming from such a weak league in comparison to the Premier League. I'd say that, combined with the fact that he's a little bit lightweight, are perhaps the only two downsides for me. But other than that...
But then he played well in Champions League, didn't he, against elite opposition?
Yeah, exactly, and that should offer a bit of an insight into how he'll cope. But, for those that don't know, he's got a 7.5, was it? 7.25, something like that. £1 million release clause. So Liverpool are getting him really, really cheap. He's 24 years old. Very versatile. He's played across 4 attacking positions for Salzburg inside the past year or so. He doesn't suffer from injuries very often. He's 24 years old. He's a Japanese player as well, which I think is key, because I think he's Liverpool's first ever Japanese player. We're obviously on the verge of doing a deal with Nike. Whereby we get fees from shirt sales and things like that. So if we have an Asian figure in the team, if you like,
this was a very good point. Yeah,
in the mould of Kagawa, Heung-min Son, Park Ji-sung. Liverpool have never really had that.
No, yeah.
So it'll be interesting to see how we do regarding that.
Yeah, no, that's it. That's just an aspect that the commercial aspect that maybe other clubs wouldn't focus on. I think is very wise by Liverpool.
I think saying that, I think perhaps Man United are focused too much on that.
As I was talking, I was thinking, unless you're Man United, in which you're only focused on the commercial side of things, but he's just a really good player, and especially when Liverpool haven't got any real. They've got players who can come in across the front three, but they haven't really got a player of that ability or who's the same kind of ilk as the front three that are there now to come in and just ease that kind of potential drop in performance that that sometimes happen when Liverpool have to rotate.
Yeah, it just seems to make plenty of sense, the deal, considering the price. Liverpool obviously very efficient in the way that they recruit, economic use of resources and things like that. And as I said, I think the fact that the transfer is low risk, I think is one of the main reasons why we're interested in the deal. I think Liverpool have benefited over the course of a number of years now from not getting a single signing wrong, really. We haven't bought anyone, invested money in anyone that we've had to take a hit on. Even Karius, who's perhaps the only failure under Klopp, we got him for $6 million. We've probably got that back from loan fees in the meantime.
He might even be sold for that when he does leave, because it's not
exactly.
a lot of money, is it?
Exactly,
Really?
and considering Minamino's level, what he offers on the pitch and his age, even if he was to fail, you're probably getting more than $7 million back if you sell him to a Bournemouth.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean?
Oh, they'll be waiting, mate.
But it's just a really sensible sign, just another rotation option for the attackers.
I think what makes it more interesting is it does help. Listen, every single player on the pitch has a role to play, don't they? But there's just something a little bit more enticing when it's an exciting flair player, isn't it? Someone who can kind of attack really well and just get you off your seat almost. And
yeah, especially a player who's performed well against your club. I think back to when we signed Wijnaldum, actually. Wijnaldum scored a hat-trick against us at St James's Park, and a couple of months later we signed him. So,
well, I was saying, I wonder how much of that actually.
We were saying
to
Christian, weren't we?
Yeah. That I wonder how much the signing has come on the back of these performances, because we always give Liverpool the benefit of the doubt in terms of their recruitment, because they're so good at it. We assume that players that they do buy, they've been looking at for a long time, normally ahead of the curve and so on. But I just wonder whether this is an example of watching a player perform so well and think, listen, we need him. Let's go and buy him. Because we named a few examples, didn't we? What one did you use? You said about United with Ronaldo.
Yeah, I remember Ferguson faced Sporting, and I think the United players came off the pitch, like Rio Ferdinand was saying, saying to Ferguson, you've got to sign that kid, because we couldn't get near him and things like that. And
obviously Everton did the same with Fellaini. They played Standard Liège in the then UEFA Cup, now Europa League, and he was fantastic over 2 legs, and they went straight ahead and bought him. And both of those examples we've used there, whilst I'm sure there's 1,000,001 that weren't, both of those examples turned out to be, good players. And
well, I think
he will be the same.
I think if Liverpool have done that, they'll have no doubt reinforced that eye test on, all kinds behind the scenes. The fact that he's got this release clause, the fact that he doesn't suffer from injuries often, the marketability of him with him being an Asian player. Yeah. He's versatile across the front. Just suits the
It's
just such a sensible move, such a sensible signing. So it's the first Liverpool sign that we've really been able to speak about on this podcast, true, since the Christian Welsh days. Good news as far as I'm concerned, and it'd be interesting to see how he does. If he's actually confirmed, we should say that it's probably very, very close at this point, but it's not official.
No. Well, before we come in, the club, this is Red Bull Salzburg themselves. Was it the CEO or?
It was the sporting director of the Salzburg.
It confirmed the discussions, hadn't he? So
yeah,
I mean, it looks good. So fingers crossed.
Yeah. So we'll see how that one goes anyway. But we'll move on.
Just before we do, I want to
go on.
So we were talking about where he come from. Minamino, just wanted to pronounce his name once correct, and I did. And it was a team called Cerezo Osaka. Cerezo Osaka. And just before we come on, I was having a little look at them, because obviously they weren't on my radar. I don't know if they were on yours.
No.
But clearly they must be on Salzburg, who tend to do good recruitments. And they've actually had a few decent names that have come over. And probably the most high profile one, Kagawa.
I was thinking, actually, yeah.
Yeah, obviously Kagawa played.
He went straight to Dortmund, didn't he?
Yeah, but I think he goes from there to Dortmund. So it just may be a little, from what I've read so far, he seems to be a bit of a hotbed in terms of producing, good talents from a young age. So maybe they're the club to keep an eye on in the future. Try and get ahead of the curve on recruitments.
Well, just an added word on that, actually. I think in the past, people have maybe made a comment when we've signed maybe the likes of Van Dijk for 70 odd million. And some people are inclined to say, why didn't we sign Van Dijk before Celtic were aware of him?
Yeah.
And my argument has always been, because at that point the player will have flaws, he'll have inefficiencies, and you'll suffer as a result of those. So my perception's always been, let the smaller clubs suffer from those. Once he gets to a consistent top level, then sign him.
Yeah.
Okay, you pay a bit more, but you get the end product. And Liverpool are so high up in the food chain that it's worth taking up that role.
Yeah.
But this kind of signing, I think you can do, because I think Liverpool maybe a couple of years ago would have let Southampton sign this player, and then we'll have maybe monitored how he did, and then maybe look to sign him. But I think when you get to a position of strength like Liverpool, and the squad's built, and there's not a great deal that you need to add, I think then you can start signing the likes of these players, like your early Van Dijks and your early Firminos. You just got to do it once you're in a position of strength, rather than doing it when you're actually trying to rebuild. Because if you're doing it while you're trying to rebuild, those players will suffer inefficiencies on the pitch, and it'll cost you. But it shouldn't cost us at the moment if he's making mistakes.
I mean, the key difference is, as you said, Liverpool now in the 0.1% of the world, really, in terms of elite clubs, and they're now in a position where they can buy these players and not be reliant on them, which is the big difference. So, a club lower down on, as you called it, the food chain, might bring a player like this in, but need him to kind of hit the ground running and be a success. Yeah. Whereas if he proved to be, I don't know, a flop, for want of a better term, that's not going to impact Liverpool's season, is it? No, it's not going to change anything for Liverpool. And yeah, I just want to agree with your point that you said about them. They don't really need to go to the source, because that's on sides who are below Liverpool and looking to bridge the gap, to bring these players in, nurture them, suffer the mistakes that they make in trying to bridge that gap. But Liverpool just simply don't need to do that.
Yeah, it's just interesting that Liverpool's past maybe 2 signings, excluding Adrian, have been, Sepp van den Berg and now Minamino, who, they're both players that maybe aren't ready yet, but they very clearly have a ceiling whereby they can be. Liverpool are now in a position to give them enough time to be ready, save a bit of money in the process, and keep going in the meantime with the strong squad that we've already got. But we'll move on anyway to what I thought was Liverpool's easiest game of the season. I thought it was crazy. It was just training session.
Yeah, the bad Bournemouth, aren't they?
I mean, we did. What did we predict score wise? I think it was.
It was in and around
2 or 3 or something.
Yeah. I'm conscious to get too confident in case someone flags it, but I know, put it this way, none of us really tipped Bournemouth to get anything.
No, I think I recall saying before the match that Liverpool's past 4 results against Bournemouth were 3-0, 4-0, 3-0, 4-0.
Was it 14-0 on aggregate?
Yeah, it's now 17-0 on aggregate, because Liverpool have reverted again 2-3-0. And it was just a very, very easy contest, to be honest. It was concerning from Eddie Howe's perspective. Yeah. Concerning if you're a Bournemouth fan, because I'm not exactly sure what they were trying to do. I don't know.
That's it. They have no direction. I think, you're struggling anyway. You've got the European champions coming who are top. It's the biggest game you're going to have at home that season. They've just the flying off, beating the local rivals in the derby. You might have caught them cold, and maybe we've got to give some credit to Liverpool, that Liverpool was still very professional, but Bournemouth just didn't pose anything, did they? Just nothing.
No, nothing at all. I mean, they faced City last season in the running, and they didn't have a single shot in 90 minutes. Not one. Against Liverpool on the weekend, they had 3 shots, 0 on target. Now, I'm going to use quite a strong word here, but I completely appreciate that Liverpool are a stronger team and you swim against the tide. But I think that's bordering on pathetic. Do you think?
I think
that's too strong.
I know I was going to use the term criminal, in the sense that you can't have a home game like that against
a home game,
a home game, and not have a shot on target. Albeit, I've had a look, and that was the first time this season that they haven't had a shot on target. So maybe we do give credit to Liverpool for making it so hard for them, but I think we're objective on this, aren't we? And we can appreciate that Liverpool are great, but also criticise the opposition for being so poor, and that's definitely the case here.
Yeah, I mean, just a few more of the numbers. The expected goals on the day: Liverpool 2.5, Bournemouth 0.2.
I mean, that's dominant, that, isn't it? 2.5.
Yeah, well, that's basically how the match ended up. I mean, 2.5 to 0.2, and the match finishes 3-0. That's virtually as predicted. 74% possession for Liverpool, and we completed over 3 times as many passes on the day. It was just terrible. From obviously, maybe I'm focusing too much on Bournemouth being bad. Obviously, Liverpool were very good.
No, but I think we could, from your point of view, you could wax lyrical about Liverpool, couldn't you? I think it's maybe just trying to bring some objectiveness to the.
Yeah, it's just I watch Liverpool every single week, and I'm used to teams posing some threat and having a go, if you like. Sound a bit like Andy Gray, but it was just a bit like it was what I expected Palace to do. You know when I was saying Hodgson will just roll over? I was expecting a bit more of that at Palace. Didn't really happen that way. I think Liverpool was slightly off it on the day, but Bournemouth were just really, really inferior and played like a League 2 side.
It was actually, you know what, we just I know we've got a little bit more about Bournemouth, but it was actually a big weekend, wasn't it, for Liverpool, really, in terms of results elsewhere? It
was, yeah. I mean, we just touched very, very little on City. I haven't actually put it down on the agenda, but it did cross my mind that we mentioned a couple of weeks ago that, you know, how will these injuries affect City and things like that, and I think we made it clear that these top sides, particularly Guardiola and how his style of play is really demanding on the players. You know, if you make a mistake in Guardiola's system as a defender, particularly on the halfway line, you're probably going to give away a chance, even though you're miles away from goal. So I think they're suffering at the minute from basically players not being good enough to execute what Guardiola wants, and that maybe a little bit of a lack of hunger as well.
Yeah, they don't just seem to have the same drive, do they? I mean, there's still dominance in a lot of places. You know, I had to write a piece for the MEN, and I had a look at how dominant they are in certain areas of the pitch. You know, just like your ball possession, shots, blah blah blah. And they're still like top ranking across Europe, but there's just that fragility in the back now, and teams just exposing it too easy. I can't, and I think we can. I don't want to jinx it, but I think we can write City off now, definitely for the title.
Yeah, I got asked this yesterday actually, in terms of what would I give Leicester and City in that as a percentage to win the league. I'd rate them probably the same at the minute. I'd give them both about 10% probability, and I'd give Liverpool 80.
Yeah, that's fair.
But from my perspective, I don't want to get ahead of the curve, but it does feel done to me.
Yeah, same.
I can't see this Liverpool team being caught. There's I think it's an 8-point gap to Leicester.
You know, if the gap was 3 points and everybody else was firing on all cylinders, you know, a repeat of last season, and Liverpool were still just 3 points ahead, I'd still be backing Liverpool to win the title. And the fact that they've got such a cushion, and the closer side chasing them are, doing well, very good side, but I don't think they can replicate what Liverpool and City have been doing over obviously not City the last few weeks, but say last year. There's no way I think they can just go and win every game for the rest of the season here.
Yeah, I mean,
I just can't see how Liverpool don't win the title.
No, I'm to be honest, I am the same. Yeah. It feels weird to say, because it's obviously never happened in my lifetime. But the whole Leicester thing, we will obviously get to in about 1 or 2 weeks, because we faced them on Boxing Day. And, you know, we might as well finish off on Bournemouth, round up on Bournemouth. I think it's important to note that the opening goal, we kind of, what was the word? We kind of like suggested it may happen, I suppose, because
Up and over,
yeah. Bournemouth conceded 2 against Spurs to Dele Alli. I think both of them, certainly the first one was assisted by Eric Dyer, second one might have been Alderweireld. But just a straight ball over the top, because Bournemouth are relatively high but not pressing the ball. You just play a ball over the top and straight away you're in. And Liverpool did exactly that. Henderson over the top, Chamberlain, and it's scored on his first touch. Really simple goal to concede.
I do love that Liverpool just don't have one set way of attacking. Like everyone talks about the wing backs, and that might be the primary route, but just the up and overs, there's just so many different ways. It's like they'll always have an answer for whatever you do to stop them.
Yeah, Swiss Army knife.
Yeah, Swiss Army knife, yeah. And as I said, there's definitely nothing wrong with direct football or balls over the top, providing they're executed well. But it seems to be coming back in the game quite a lot, actually.
But the thing is, if you're kind of like sitting in a set defence and you've got the threat of a ball going in behind you, that's likely to stretch the defence between the midfield, isn't it? And create space in and around where Firmino drops into. So it's that double jeopardy type vibe for the centre-backs. Is a ball going to go behind us? Is it going to go in front of us? And if they think it's going behind and it quickly goes in front, then Firmino's probably got space to receive the ball, sort of thing. So it's just it's that thing of posing two tactical questions at once. That's what Liverpool are really good at doing.
But also being able to implement them as well. So as I say, if it does go long, like Henderson's long balls seems to, I haven't got any data to back it up, but just from watching them, I always remember them getting a bit of stick, but he seems to deliver really good long passes.
Yeah, I mean, in the preview last week, I thought Van Dijk would play it. I thought Van Dijk would be the one playing those passes. He's hit a few of those. He hit one at Bayern away.
Yeah,
Mane scored.
For Mane's goal.
He hit one at Sheffield United earlier in the season for Mane again, but Mane, for whatever reasons, fluffed his lines. But, Henderson played it on the day. So Liverpool opened the scoring through that. And another comfortable win. So I think the gap to City's 14 points. Yeah. 8-point gap to Leicester. We have to keep ploughing on this podcast every week as though we're still in a contest, but are we?
No, I don't think so. I don't. I think it's done. I can't foresee how it would collapse unless Liverpool collapsed. And I don't know, some sides, like the 13-14 side under Rodgers, it felt like, they had that in them where they could, even though they were good sides.
Maybe a bit of a lack of control.
Yeah, exactly, yeah. Whereas this Liverpool side, you'd have to rely on kind of fluke results in a sequence to drop points. I just can't see it.
I mean, obviously you don't want complacency to seep in.
No, but I just don't, once again, I don't think this team's guilty of it.
No, but I think we probably sound a little bit complacent on this show now, and you'll get a few listening thinking,
arrogance.
We need to keep our heads down also, but it's just it's this Liverpool team, isn't it? They don't really, best team in Europe at the minute for me, comfortably.
Yeah. The way I can only defend that point of view is if we were talking about the Bundesliga now and it was a similar situation between three sides, we'd be saying the exact same thing. If, say, I don't know, Dortmund, Bayern were leading by so many points and looking so good, you'd be like, listen, that for me, that title race is over. And I think this one is. I think it's just going to be when they can win it. Yeah,
I mean, another competition that has been a little bit stickier for us to contest in this year is the Champions League. Obviously, we had Salzburg during the week, and again, it was quite mad.
Yeah.
What do you think?
First 20 minutes.
Which I should say that I missed the first 5 to 10 minutes. So the initial onslaught that Salzburg apparently had, I didn't catch.
I feel like this altered your narrative a little bit at the start.
Maybe.
Listen, after 20 minutes, both teams had 5 attempts on goal, and I thought, here we go, this is that game that we were waiting for. Bit of a nerve shredder for Liverpool fans, but in reality, I think I texted you after the game, didn't I? I was like, that was one of the best performances I've seen from Liverpool, even in the context of how good they are now, in a long time. Like, they controlled the game against the previously uncontrollable Salzburg, really. Yeah, I mean, it was, for me, once the end of the match happened, and anyway, at least up until that point, it was a little bit shaky, I suppose, but once you had time to reflect, I think it was a really mature, type of performance that a European champion would exhibit, sort of thing. When it mattered as well.
Yeah, I think it was very clearly an important game. And I think Liverpool just... I don't know, they just turned up, I think, for want of a better word. I think they just showed why they're the champions and why they're such an elite team at the minute.
I mean, to be fair, I think it was important, wasn't it, not to concede in that first 20 minutes or so when they did have chances. And, you know, Alisson pulled off a really good save against Liverpool's potential new player, actually, wasn't it? I'm sure.
Yeah, maybe, yeah.
So that was a big moment, and that's why he's there. And that probably shouldn't be forgotten. That was a big moment. But yeah, I thought they kind of rode out the first crazy 10, 15, 20 minutes. And then after that, yeah, it was just a really, really good performance. And obviously Liverpool could have scored a handful themselves.
Yeah, I mean, it was... For large periods, it was very much you have a go, we have a go sort of vibe. And we've spoken in the past about if you're going to do that with Liverpool, you may score, but you're probably going to concede more on the opposite end. And that was kind of the way it played out. I didn't expect Liverpool to keep a clean sheet. I think that's 2 in a row now, isn't it? 2 in a row, yeah. I did say...
Yeah, he did say it was coming,
that'll come. I must admit I didn't expect this one to come. But yeah, it was a strong Liverpool performance.
I had that as... I think it was the 3rd lowest XG of the season for Salzburg.
Yeah, well, that says it all. I mean, it's certainly a team that can attack. Certainly a team that know how to play, basically. Hence why Minamino is going to be, you know, relatively suitable. He's not coming over from an Austrian Burnley, exactly, is he? But, you know, a word on Mohamed Salah, because up until his goal, which I think it was around the 60th minute or so, he'd missed a variety of chances. Then he goes and scores, obviously, the maddest finish of them all.
Yeah.
But I think that performance epitomised Salah.
Yeah.
Because there's 2 ways of viewing that. There's 2 ways of viewing him there. He's either a reckless, you know, inefficient player, if you like, who needs 5 chances to score, or you can look at him as he's the player that consistently gets 5 chances, which is easier said than done. See what I mean? Yeah,
no, yeah. So it's obviously we've used the term like output player before, or you say data player a lot, don't you? That's what he is, and if you create that many chances for him, he will score. On this occasion, it just happened to be the most difficult one. But the only thing is, I see a lot of people giving him stick for the chances he misses, and I get it, you know. If the game was tight and he misses chances like that and you end up having a negative result, then the criticism's warranted. But we're not talking about a player here, are we, that doesn't produce match-winning moments. Like over the last 2 years, he's done that. And I think that's a key difference. He still does produce these match-winning moments. And for that reason, I don't think really you can criticise him too much.
No, I mean, he did it in the Charity Shield. It was a Community Shield. I always get them mixed up.
Community, yeah.
Community. Early in the season, he had 10 shots against Manchester City, but he didn't score one of them. And I think, you know, them match ratings after the game, he gets like a 5 and things like that. But Divock Origi on the opposite side had 1 shot, didn't score it, but because he didn't miss 9, he gets off the hook, if you like. But the player that gets 10 shots away during the match, okay, he didn't score any that day, but the reason he's getting on the end of 10 is why he's a top player and why Liverpool spotted him with the whole data approach.
Well, Harry Kane's the same, isn't he? Like, you know, if you actually watch Harry Kane, and I don't mean just like a highlights show or you know, once or twice a season when your team plays him, if you watch him consistently and the data backs it up, he's the same. He gets the ball anywhere near the box, he just shoots. And they're not always the greatest shots, but it's just all about the output for them. And obviously that's rewarded with goals. And him and Salah are very, very similar in that sense.
Yeah, I mean, another player who maybe hasn't hit the ground running since joining, surprisingly. But obviously after the match, he was getting all kinds of praise. Naby Keita, obviously used to play for Salzburg. Yeah, I think he was quite impressed with him on the day, weren't you?
Yeah, it was definitely, yeah. He, that was Keita that Liverpool signed, and this for me now is going to be a huge spell for the player. Like, this is going to be his biggest period since joining the club, I think, because if he can do, 8 games now without an injury, I know he's not like automatic starter, but if he can go 8 games without breaking down, I think that's going to be Liverpool getting their man. I think that's finally going to be Keita arrived, and he's going to be a great dynamic for Liverpool. In that time, if he breaks down again or has a niggle injury that keeps him out for a few weeks, I'm concerned for him. I think it'll go back to what I said on the show a few weeks ago about he may not ever materialise and have to go and play somewhere else. I just think these next few weeks are going to be huge. But in terms of the performance on that night, I thought he was fantastic.
Yeah, I think
and played well against Bournemouth, actually.
Well, he did, and that's one thing I'm going to say. But one slight concern is that he's performed well against Bournemouth and he's performed well against Salzburg. Both of those are Bundesliga type teams in terms of being open. They'll have a go at you to an extent. They're not particularly difficult to play through, sort of thing. And I think it's, obviously Keita showed his best period in Germany in the Bundesliga. If you watch Bundesliga matches consistently, it's a really open league. It's just, end-to-end stuff, sort of thing. Every team's a pressing team. It's a bit mad. No shock that Keita was able to play through defensive blocks and things like that. So I would like to see Keita keep doing it against teams that... I mean, he has done it, to be fair. He made a difference against United at Old Trafford, obviously, with the goal that we scored. Played well against Genk, but again, a little bit of a weak defensive side, I suppose. But he's got to be useful, and he's got to be able to apply himself in games beyond the likes of Bournemouth and Salzburg. So, I mean, we've got Watford on a weekend, which we'll move on to in a sec. But although they're not performing particularly well, it'll be interesting to see if he plays in that game and if he does well and things like that. Because a bit more of a physical side, a bit more well-drilled defensively, even though they're not looking that way. So, am I being too harsh?
No, I get it. The only thing, I suppose, if I'm going to try and play devil's advocate and support him a little bit, is maybe it's just the playing time is being quite restricted, hasn't it? Because of these injuries and how good the starting 11 is, that he hasn't played a lot of those other games. So maybe that's something we'll see in the coming weeks and months as he plays a little bit more.
Yeah,
all being fitness-wise.
I mean, I suppose all I'm saying is, if before this week started, you'd have said to me, Keita will start both those matches and play really well, I wouldn't be particularly surprised, because of the types of games he's made for, really. But, hopefully he continue in the same vein, and perhaps even against Watford, the most unlucky team in the Premier League at the minute, I think, safe to say.
Yeah. It's been a tough season for them, actually. Very tough season.
Do you have any issues with the way they're run in terms of hiring and firing?
Yeah, I do. Actually, I've actually flagged that as something I want to talk about. Just because, do you remember not so long ago, they had a so-called great club structure, which the foundations were great, and the manager was, to an extent, in their eyes, a bit irrelevant. It was just whoever they had in at the time. And I think that's being found out a little bit now, because, in my opinion, even if you have a good structure in place, you still need a manager to lead the on-the-pitch instructions and tactics, and they're chopping and changing too much for me.
Yeah, I mean, one of the reasons I suppose they're valued by people like us, I suppose, is that they've got a really good, or a thorough scouting network, at least. It's quite expansive and things like that. And I think their scouting network actually goes into managers as well. I think the likes of Gracia and Sanchez Flores and that is almost part of their portfolio of managers, if you like. But I think this season they've been strangely run. I think if you was going to sack Gracia, it should have happened in the summer.
I agree, yeah.
I think you could sense a downfall based on the numbers and things like that towards the end of the season. Lost the FA Cup final 6-0, was it?
Yeah, in a bad way as well.
Yeah, not great.
Well, obviously they got beat 6-0, but it was considering you got to the final, you want a little bit more.
Yeah, and he replaced him with a man who's been there before. So there's no new fresh ideas, no real managerial bounce that's going to happen. And in his first, I think, 2 or 3 games, he faced Manchester City at the Etihad.
Got hammered, yeah.
Now they've appointed Nigel Pearson, who, mind you, I don't think he's taking charge on the weekend. I think he's in the stands. But if he is taking charge, it's, again, first game at Anfield. Bit crazy, but I don't know. The way they've been run, people can't really complain because they've generally done quite well regarding results. But we've spoken in the past, haven't we, about the long-term perks of having a coach in for a long period of time in terms of working on little 1% and things like that. And Watford aren't really getting the chance to do that, but...
A guy or... I don't know what the title to give. The guy who does all the work behind the scenes on Blood Red, I suppose I'll say, said that he is the 11th manager they've had under the current ownership.
Yeah, since 2012.
I mean, that's... when you...
It's different, isn't it?
Yeah, when the manager are outperforming the years, then that's an issue, isn't it?
Yeah, it'd be interesting to see if Guy wants to check whether whether that's the most in the Premier League. The only team I can think of that can compete with that is possibly Chelsea, but I think that was more of a in 2005 period, 2000.
Yeah,
before.
And even I assume, well, I don't know, and I don't think Watford have generally had many interims either. That they've tended to be full-time appointments.
Yeah. I can't think of many other teams that have gone through managers like that.
Either way, it's strange, isn't it?
It is, and perhaps it's one of the reasons why they've underperformed this season. To a weird level, certainly in attack. So they've been expected to score 18.9 goals. So based on the chances that they've created, you'd expect about 19 goals by Watford, and they've actually scored 9. I haven't actually checked this, but that's surely the least in the division.
Shall I have a look?
Yeah, double check that. And defensively, a little bit less, but still underperforms, I suppose. They've expected to concede 28 and they've conceded 30.
It is the fewest by some distance, actually.
Yeah.
You know, the second fewest is Palace, and they've got 5 more goals.
Yeah, and if you actually look at their attacking numbers, they are terrible. In terms of, you know, actual application, in terms of executing. So the expected goals per shot, which offers an insight into how clear-cut their chances are, is only worsened by Palace. It's level with Newcastle in the Premier League.
Which isn't good.
No.
Trust me.
And the bottom of the league for shots on target, with 28% of their shots finding the target. Liverpool, for perspective, are second with 39.5% of their shots finding the target. So it's weird. It's weird because I'm not sure if you can look at a manager in this case and think to yourself, are they not finding the target because they're just not motivated? Or what
Something's not right, yeah.
What conclusions can you derive from just poor finishing? Because it's weird, isn't it?
Yeah. I mean, we've talked about this before. When we were at a Stats Bomb conference early in the year, and they were talking about Benteke, weren't they? And how he went a year without scoring. And actually, if you look at the footage, there was just delays in unleashing the shot, and
started to doubt himself.
Doubting himself, yeah. And I suppose there's an element to that with Watford at the moment. I mean, I was having a little... You've just drilled down the numbers there. I was having a look at the per 90 stuff this season, and when you said about them underperforming and maybe being a bit unlucky, it seems to me like the matches are actually fairly close, but they're just not doing enough to, well, one, tip it in their favour, and two, not getting the luck as well. Now, although the goals we know aren't great, the XG per 90 is 1.19 against 1.54. They tend to have just over 10 shots per game, and the opposition tend to have over 11. Possession is close to 44% for them, and obviously that's 56% for the opposition. So they are, on paper at least, fairly tight games, aren't they? But they're just not doing enough to actually win them, and when the luck's not going your way, they can very easily, the results can go against you.
Yeah, it's just been a strange season for them, because from an expected goals perspective, we would usually look at that and suggest that it's not going to continue and they're not this bad going forward. And once they start actually being able to find a net, things will level out for them. But I don't know, just when you're seeing them struggle to find a target to that extent, and they're underperforming the goals to that extent as well, and they've changed managers for the third time now, you just can't help thinking to yourself, well, maybe they're just, not right mentally in terms of application, or I'm not sure. It's a difficult one to actually conclude. And do you know what I mean?
Yeah, no, it's definitely hard to quantify, but I totally agree with the point you're making in terms of maybe the psychological aspects. I don't know if it was on this show or another one we do where I referenced how since I've been working in football, I think you agreed, the psychological aspects of the game now have become huge for me in terms of how they impact results and performances, and it's something I was aware of but didn't value as much as I do now, and certainly that could have a huge impact on how they perform this season.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's relatively safe to say that they're not relegation standard.
I don't know, I think then.
Do you think?
Yeah, I think they're in trouble. What's the league table saying?
No, I think I'd say they're in trouble, but I just don't think they're...
Oh, in terms of like maybe underlying performances?
Just overall, yeah, the overall picture, what they're actually doing compared to what they're expected to do. I'd say they're about, I don't know, between 15th and 20th or so. Sorry, not 20th, they're not 20th. They're not the 20th, they're not the worst team in the league.
No, I mean, we've just basically... we just basically talked about the issues in front of goal, but sorry, I'm just having a look at the table now. Yeah, see, they just purely on the points return, they just look in trouble now.
I just think it's going to be a match that isn't going to be an absolute walk in the park.
They're 6 points off safety.
Yeah,
for the Liverpool perspective.
Yeah, I don't think it's going to be an absolute walk in the park, because we're not facing a team that is 20th and has scored only 9 and has got how many points?
9.
9 points as well.
Points, yeah.
I just don't... They can't be that bad.
Yeah, they've had 1 league win all season.
Having said that, Liverpool do tend to do quite well against Watford, particularly Mohamed Salah, similar to Bournemouth actually. I think Watford and Bournemouth are Klopp's favourite 2 opponents and Salah's favourite 2 opponents. So it'll be interesting to see how it actually goes down. But looking at the attacking side of Watford's game this season, if they were to score at Anfield, it'd be a shock, because they don't look capable of finding the net, certainly not against the best defensive team in the league for me. Arguably the toughest ground. It should be a clean sheet, shouldn't it?
Yeah. The thing is with Liverpool as well, even if they do concede a free goal, to get anything against Liverpool, I haven't got the averages in front of me, but I know that you need to be scoring more than once to get anything out of the game, don't you? And I just don't believe there's a chance that Watford are going to score, over a goal, never mind a goal. So, I think this is going to be a hammer in this game.
But we might as well do that now. Verdict. Going for the scoreline.
I'll go 4-0, but Liverpool not getting out of third gear.
I'm going to go 4-0 as well, I think. Don't know if the new manager bounce counts if he's in the stands. And if you are just going to shut up shop against this Liverpool team, considering this is Liverpool's last Premier League fixture, I think, for a week or so, because of the Club World Cup, I think we'll want to just, make a statement, if you like, and that sort of thing.
Yeah.
So just before we round up, general thoughts on who Liverpool can face in the next round of the Champions League. So Real Madrid, Atlanta, Atletico Madrid, Borussia Dortmund and Lyon. Who's the easiest? Who's the worst? Just general. Obviously, we haven't prepared for this one.
Yeah, I think I'd probably take on the pitch Lyon. I know Atalanta to many would seem as the obvious choice, but there's something about them this year that I'd like to avoid. First Champions League campaign, they've did the best to go out, and they've ended up managing to qualify by the skin of the teeth, I suppose. Very lucky to get through, and I don't know, they just have that feel that you just want to avoid them. Yeah, Lyon is 7th.
Lyon is 7th.
In Ligue 1. So yeah, although you know what, if I was Liverpool, I wouldn't mind getting Real Madrid. You know,
the part of me would love to knock Real Madrid out this competition, but at the same time, they're not great. Don't get me wrong, but they have those players, a load of moments players, if you like, who can. You know, they've got the quality to beat you on any given day. I don't think they would, but just that, having lost the final to them last time we faced, it would be a killer to lose again against them. So I would be confident if we drew against them, but it's just that kind of like a bit like when we drew Spurs in the Champions League final. The fear of losing to an English team, the fear of losing to Madrid would be quite strong too.
So are you saying Lyon as well?
Yeah, my preferred draw would be Lyon.
What's your thoughts on Atalanta?
Good. Yeah, good team. I would like to avoid them. Watched Monday Night Football a couple of days ago, and Carragher and Neville got up the most points amassed by every team in Europe's top 5 leagues since the turn of the year, I think, or something like that. The last 9 months or so it was. And Liverpool were top by some distance. Barcelona, PSG, Bayern, and Atalanta were there inside the top 6 or 7 or so. So they're a bit like an Italian Spurs from Spurs a couple of years ago. Yeah, in terms of just climbing up by doing good things.
I know. I've looked at some metrics recently that they were looking fairly good in terms of. I can't remember. Oh yeah, that was it. They've had like the 5th most shots across Europe. They tend to dribble quite well. I think they've got a fairly decent defensive record as well. So they are a lot of people kind of they're maybe not on the radar yet, but they're a good side, aren't they?
Yeah, I mean, don't get me wrong. I do think we'd beat all of those teams probably.
Yeah, there's no side really in Europe now that I'd back to beat Liverpool. There's definitely sides who would give them a game, but there's no one that'd go, they'd beat Liverpool.
No, I think my choice would be Lyon, and my last choice would probably be Atletico Madrid, just because I like the way Liverpool's intensity seems to shock most teams in Europe, just because of the pace at which they usually play compared to what Liverpool deliver. Yeah, and I think Atletico are one of the few in Europe that will almost embrace that. Just they seem to be a very intense side on the Simeone and things like that. So I don't think we'd be able to shock them as much as we'd be able to shock, one of the others, for example.
Yeah, I'd agree with that.
Yeah, so we will round up there. Next week we'll be back on the Thursday, and that'll be after Liverpool have played a match in the Club World Cup. We can't preview that now because we don't know who we're facing.
Well, what the big one, mate, the League Cup.
I can see that getting overlooked, if I'm honest. But yeah, so we'll review whoever we do facing the semi-final, and if we get through, we'll preview the final and look ahead to whatever's upcoming beyond that. So thanks for joining us, Dave.
Cheers, mate. Thanks, everyone.
And thanks for listening. See you next week.